Just a final one here on energy. We've got some pretty serious price spikes that are going to take place from July 1, Karen. Chris Bowen, he's got some work cut out for him with forecasts that wind and solar needs 9 times the investment. Storage needs 3 times the investment of what it is. Labor's already pointed out that your government left them way behind the 8 ball, but can those investments be made in a shortish period?
Well, it is absolutely important that we have secure energy supplies here in Australia. And I don't think that there's any credibility with what Labor is saying about the circumstances in which we find ourselves here, because they did have the opportunity to prepare for them coming into government. They clearly have no plan. They're running around now effectively flapping their hands and saying, you know, there's a whole range of issues. Well, yes, there are, and we need to make sure first and foremost that Australia has a very secure and strong, reliable source of energy. Now, it seems that Labor hasn't prepared for that coming into government, but they need to work with industry very closely, because if we don't have secure power supplies, it's going to affect individuals, it's going to affect families, but it's going to affect our businesses, particularly manufacturing businesses. Now, the coalition government did a lot of work to rebuild manufacturing here in this country, and I don't want that to be lost under a Labor government.
But if you support Labor's higher emissions targets, wouldn't that speed up the process in getting more renewables online to work alongside, at least for now, coal, gas, etc.?
Coal and gas are very critical sources of energy supply for us here in Australia. Now, we actually did a lot of work as the coalition government on looking at battery storage, and in fact I opened the CRC for future batteries so that we could look at what our battery storage capability was going to be, and potentially to be world leading. Now, as we move down the path of renewables, and it's very clear that we're going to go that way, but as we move down that pathway, we need to have good and sufficient battery storage as well, and we have to be strongly developing that capability here. Our focus in Australia has to be on reliable energy, secure energy. Then we look at what that mix is going to be. Now, a lot of work has already been done, and I would have thought that Labor had prepared for that coming into government, but it's obvious that they haven't. So they need to speak to industry, and they need to get those plans in place now.
Okay, but just as a quick one here, you doubt that those targets for renewables and also battery storage can be achieved in that window?
There is an incredible amount of work that needs to be done. A lot of work has already been done. We need to be able to build on that here in Australia. But I think we've got to be careful that our focus is not on how we increase renewable capacity when we've got issues with reliable energy here in Australia. So the first question that needs to be answered is, how are we going to ensure that there is stable, reliable energy for Australians? Then we look at what that mix is going to be, and we look at how we're going to increase renewable capability and capacity.
Karen Andrews, as always, thanks for your time. We'll talk to you soon.